Namaste, my name is Hussein. Hey there, my name is Hassan. You are listening to the Achilles podcast, where we talk about different cities and cultures from all over the world. This episode is about Kathmandu, Nepal. Kathmandu is the capital and the largest city of Nepal, with a population of over 1 million, also known as the City of Temples. Please enjoy. Hi, Samay. How are you doing, man?
Hi. Hi, Hussein. I'm doing fine. And what about you?
Yeah, I'm doing well. And here's also my brother Hassan. Hi, Samay.
Hi, Hassan. Good morning.
Yeah, hi. Good morning. Yeah. Uh, I was so shocked when I saw the time difference. It's just 45 minutes because where is Tajikistan and where is Nepal? It's so far from each other, but just 45 minutes the difference.
Yeah, I think we both lie in Asia, Central Asia. I think you got Tajikistan is in Central Asia, right?
Yeah, it's in Central Asia, next to
Yes.
Afghanistan, China.
Yeah, like yeah, and we are South Asia. So I think it's not a big difference between time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, usually it's like 1 hour, 2 hour difference, but not 45 minutes. Uh, how so? Yeah, so
I think
different.
it has to do with like Greenwich time. I think.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Samai, could you please talk about yourself a little bit? What do you do and where you're from?
Okay. Namaste. And my name is Samaya, and I'm from Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been working in NGOs like non-governmental organizations like for quite a long time, and I'm also an activist.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, usually it's like I'm also a social worker over here, and but due to this corona pandemic, look for past year, I haven't been working in any organizations or like I haven't doing anything active uh, till the date. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an activist.
I see. What do you mean activist? What is it?
The things that concerns me are like the things that concern the society,
Uh-huh.
and like the things that as a citizen I have to speak for. Like so if there is anything going wrong, like let's say any social evil or any things that any flaws that have been carried out in the policy which directly affects the people. So usually me being a active citizen, I usually like wake up and like shout out, or like I say things, like so I usually uh, try to bring people to the cause, and like I try to move forward for the social change, like for the betterment of a social change.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Okay. I think people love you for that. For doing that.
Yeah, some people hate us.
Okay. At the beginning, you said Namaste. Is it the way you greet people in Nepal?
So yeah, this is the traditional style of
Mm-hmm.
greeting each other in Nepal. Like if you meet any stranger or if you meet any new person, the first thing is you say is that namaste, and then you start a conversation. But later these days, like due to this what do you call that, a
Mm-hmm.
globalization, like people also start say hello, hi, like a Western style. But usually the traditional style of Nepali greetings is namaste, and like before you meet also you say namaste, and after you meet and you have, if you are about to part your ways away, then you don't say goodbye, usually you say namaste again
Oh,
in Nepali tradition.
wow. And what does it mean? So it's not just hi, right?
Yeah, it's similar to hi, like it's like say it's a culture that like you say namaste for everything, like if you see a new person and if you have to greet a new person, you say
Mm-hmm.
namaste. So it's a kind of greetings, like
Yeah.
in a Nepali way, like yeah.
And do you shake hands or hug?
Yeah, yeah. These days we do shake hands and hug,
Uh-huh.
but if you are talking about the traditional Nepali way, it's like
Uh-huh.
namaste. For example, namaste is a traditional way, but these days, like everybody hugs and like hi,
Yeah.
hello, shake
Mm-hmm.
hands. Yeah, these things, these things also are common.
Yeah. And do you also shake your head like Indians? Yes.
Yeah, we do shake a lot of our head. Like if you have to say yes, then usually we don't use our tongue. We usually nod our head like up and down.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
yes,
cool.
yes.
Wow.
And if you have to say no, then you just turn your head left and right. Like no, no.
Oh,
Ah,
wow. Okay.
So it's a cultural thing. Like people like get confused with when they visit here in Nepal.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What might surprise foreigners if they visit Kathmandu?
Well, there are tons of things that might surprise, like the foreigners in Kathmandu because, okay, the first thing is that, like we have like 10 mountains. We have like 8 highest mountains out of 10, all in Nepal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like Kathmandu, and the first thing is that we are also one of the countries in the world who do not celebrate Independence Day.
Uh, it, because you don't have that day?
Yeah, we don't like we have never been like colonized by any country till the date.
Wow.
So we don't celebrate like Independence Day, and specifically if you are looking for the in Kathmandu, then like for example, if you go through the cultural aspect, so have you heard about the dog celebration day? Dog's big day.
No.
no.
Like in Nepal, like we celebrate like Tihar specifically, and during that day we like worship dogs, we worship cows, we worship crows,
Mm-hmm.
as they for example dogs, so they are also known as the messenger of messenger from this what do you call that, Yamaraj, like who is the who is the god of death. So it's he's
Oh.
called like so dogs, we worship dog, and like we worship crows and cow, as you know that in Hindu mythology, cow is also known as the incarnation of goddess Lakshmi.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So and like so there are tons of things, like people are extremely friendly, like if foreigners come in here, if foreigner is visiting Nepal, then the first thing they will see is that people, a lot of people will smile at you, like even though you are a stranger, they will look at you and they will smile you and greet you. So it's
Oh.
it's and they will start talking to you. People over here are extremely friendly.
Wow,
Wow.
that's good.
Yeah.
Do they speak English?
So if in city area, like most of the people speak English, but if you like travel to the rural side, then you may find it difficult to find the people who
Mm-hmm.
speaks a lot. Usually people speak English, but it's kind of hard. Like there are 100 and another thing that might amaze you is like there are there are 123 castes in Nepal, or ethnic groups.
Mm-hmm.
126 ethnic group, and like the language here spoken in Nepal are like 123. There are like 123 types of language.
Wow.
So this is
And
a
how many do you speak?
so right now I only speak five, like English.
Only.
Only 5.
That's a lot.
I think not five, I think it's four. English, like Hindi, we know Hindi,
Mm-hmm.
and I speak my own language, Tamang,
Uh-huh.
and it's Nepal. I don't know, I have only four languages, yeah. And Nepali.
So Hindi, do you study Hindu at school? Why do you know this language?
No, no, we did not study Hindi, but like a lot of TV serials or like channels in Nepal
Ah,
are like in Hindi, so it's kind
Ah,
of cultural influence. Like
yeah.
we are kind of near to each other,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah,
And do you like Indian movies? I mean, in general, people in Nepal, Bollywood.
yeah, yeah. People love Indian movies, Bollywood. Yeah, in Nepal, a lot of people love Bollywood,
Okay. So since we are talking about,
and
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, things that are surprising, and I have tons of things. Like so you already told about the goddess Lakshmi, okay, the living goddess of Nepal. And she is called Kumari. As
Kumari,
Kumari,
yeah.
she's the living goddess of
Can you
Nepal.
explain that?
And like, okay, so it's a traditional system that has passed in the Newar culture. So specifically, I do not know depth knowledge about Kumari, but in general, what we know about is that like she is like selected. So a royal priest selects a child, a
Mm-hmm.
female child, through there are various systems to select, and I specifically don't know what is that system, but still, like they select the royal priest selects this a woman from Sakya, or like I think it's from the Sakya group, Sakya dynasty, and like so they are like after the selection they are like you know put they are like what do you call that, so they are like selected as a god, and then
Hmm.
like people start praying for them, like, and after their first menstruation, like they are retired after their first menstruation.
Retire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw the video about the Kumari girl, and it says that a government will pay them until they die, so the whole life they will pay.
Yeah, so this thing started like when for example in early childhood they are like here's the thing, so in their early childhood they're like they are prayed as a god, like,
Hmm.
so, and after their first menstruation, or like first their first menstruation, they are like retired. And so can you imagine the psychological thing that happens between that time? For a
Yeah.
certain year of time you are like prayed as a god, and
Hmm.
then after a certain period of time you are like so after you retire, like you usually are ignored, and like, and the little child have to go through that psychological, like problems. For example, few years ago I was being praised as a god, and I was being hailed, people come to me visit me. So after my what do you call that, after my retirement,
Hmm.
or after my first menstruation, okay, then so
Yeah.
there's a selection of the next
Hmm.
kumari, all right. And
Hmm.
then after that, so the things drastically changes for a child.
Yeah.
And so like a few years ago government had planned and government had offered that they will pay for the education,
Hmm.
and like for job, and and for other things for the ex kumaris.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah.
government have provided subsidies for them.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, poor girl. Okay, since we are talking about the surprising things, can you also explain about Yehipa, right? Uh,
Yehi pa.
Girls
Yehi,
marry Hindu god.
yeah. Uh, t
Okay. So actually
yeah, when they're 10 years old.
yeah, so these things also happen in the Newar community, all right. And
Hmm.
so it is believed that during what do you call that, during the ancient time when there was like no countries, like when India, or like when the countries were being invaded by the what do you call that, Ottoman Empire, from Ottoman Empire in Asia. So
Hmm. Hmm.
so it is also believed that they used to steal their so there was a tradition. You know about sati pratha? There is something called sati pratha,
No,
No.
we don't.
which means that if a husband
Hmm.
dies,
Hmm.
then for example, if a husband dies, then a wife has to die with her in the fire together.
Wow. Okay.
So that was the system. And these and so it's been like 100, it's nearly been 200 years that has been abolished in Nepal. So for example, there was a system of polygamy in Nepal, in traditional Nepal, right? And so if I had a five wife, and if I die early, then my five wife all have to die with me. We have to burn with me
Hmm.
together. So that was the system. And so this bail bivaha, or like bail marriage, or it's a ihi marriage, is a ceremony in a Newar community, like which when in early around like I think 10 years, maybe, or 10 years. So uh, so they uh, in their pre-adolescent period, they are like married to Subarna Kumar, like Kumar, which is also the symbol of God Vishnu. And ensuring that the girl, like becomes and remains fertile. Look, and it is believed that if the girlfriend's sorry, if the girl's husband dies
Hmm.
later in her life, like she's not considered a widow, like,
Ah,
Uh-huh.
which prevents her from going to sati.
yeah.
So which also prevents her to there was this sati system in ancient, and which prevents her from being a widow, and she's married to Vishnu, and so she already has a husband that is believed to be still alive, because Lord Vishnu is always alive. And
Yeah.
so it is, if we are talking about Ihi, then it's a different thing. Yeah.
It's a different thing.
Where they are married to God Vishnu, and there is this another thing like Bel Viva, where they marry to a fruit, like fruit called bel, or it's what do you call that, apple wood, I think.
Apple tree?
So yeah, so it's apple wood, I think, apple wood or apple tree, I think it's called apple wood fruit or something, like bell fruit.
Okay.
So yeah, and and there is another marriage like that happens in Nepal community. It's so the marriage is like between a woman and a man. So that's a normal marriage. So these two marriages are like fascinating things for like foreigners. These two marriages can be fascinating for the foreigners.
Yeah. Yeah. So in total,
And also, so in total they married 3 times.
wow. And men just once. Yeah, the real man, just one man, right?
Yeah, one man. Yeah. So the real marriage that happens between man and woman is one. So yeah, and Kathmandu is also known as the city of temples. Like you can literally find temples everywhere in the city.
Yeah.
And another surprising thing maybe like for the foreigners, maybe like there are street dogs everywhere. You can see dogs everywhere, and also cows in the road sometimes.
Okay.
So we are not allowed to kill cow. So it's illegal to kill cow in Nepal because we. So yeah, so when cow becomes like old, and then people usually don't kill them, or like so they like left them alone in the road, like.
And
So you can see, literally you can see cows everywhere.
wow. Do you eat meat?
Yeah, we do eat meat, but we are not allowed to eat like cow meat.
Beef?
It's kind of illegal.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's chicken and anything else? Is there anything else? Sheep?
Yeah,
Like
except
lamb?
cow, everything.
Except cow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Except cow, everything.
Everything.
But not dogs, like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, that would
dogs
be.
meat, and so these are not things.
Yeah. Still not.
Yeah, usually
not
pork,
everything.
chicken, and like pork, chicken, like, and goat meats, and yeah. So these are, and buff, like buffaloes, ox.
Okay. Okay. If you could choose three aspects of your culture to put in a time box for the future, what would you put in it?
For me personally, like if I have to provide a future generation what like the tradition, or to pass down the tradition, it's like like we are like very friendly, like we're extremely friendly, like this is our culture. For example, if a foreigner, or like if any like stranger come to our house, and then we greet them very properly, like in old times we used to say that guests are the incarnation of gods, so you have to treat them very properly, like.
Yeah.
So there has been a story, or like there's folk stories and mythological stories where God, what do you say, that he incarnate as a human, and then come to your house to ask for like foods, or like to ask for a place to stay. So, and if you like if you mistreat them properly, then God will judge you by that. So it has been passed down like from the centuries, but the tradition, like you have to treat your guests very properly. And so people are friendly, and like people respect guests so much. So that's one thing that I want to like put that in a time box. And another thing is that like we have like respect for elders, and like, so there's for example, there are like 3 languages that we speak in common tone. For example, if you have an elder person, then we use tapai with respect. For example, in English, you have like, you say you to your elder also, and your junior also, you speak in you. And like with your friend also, you speak in you, right? But there are 3 languages like we speak. For example, if there is a senior or elder people than me, then I say tapai. And if there is if there's a friend, like if a colleague is with me, then I say Timi, and if there is a junior, then we also say Timi, but in a like soft and like melodious tone,
Oh, I
like
see.
Timi Nanu, like
Ah,
in,
yeah,
so
yeah.
that's how we speak, and like respect for elders and respecting like women's,
Mm-hmm.
and it is a sin to kick a woman in Nepal, actually. So you usually do not kick woman. Like even if mistakenly I touch a woman with my feet, then I usually like bow down to her and I have to say sorry. So these
Wow.
are the tradition,
Good
like
for girls.
we yeah. And like we have this communal feelings in our community, like for example, if anything happens,
Mm-hmm.
we are not like individual society. So if anything happens in a house or to any person, then the whole community gathers up for that person. So that's a very thing that I wish it could be transferred to the next generation.
Mm. Yeah. So about the Mount Everest, the highest point of Earth, everybody knows about that. So how have you ever thought about climbing? And is it common to people talk about this, think about this to climb the Mount Everest?
Well, actually, like yeah, a lot of people thinks of climbing Mount Everest, but like for Nepalese like us, it's kind of expensive also.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little expensive
Yeah.
to climb, and like it's a risky also, and like like I usually dream of climbing Mount Everest, but but still I'm still scared, like
Yeah.
yeah, people usually like dream of climbing Mount Everest, but like it's quite a hard thing to do. So usually it's a kind of adventure thing. Like people, those who are like very interested in adventure, then like yeah, they go. Usually
Mm-hmm.
they travel, and they come and they share their stories with us.
So you know some people who did that.
Not in my circle, but like uh, not my friends, but
Mm-hmm.
like in our community, like nearby community, someone have gone to Mount Everest, and like there's a talk in the society, like in a group, oh, he have been to the Mount Everest, like that of thing. I know, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't have my any friend that have been to Mount Everest.
I see. Okay. Could you also please explain about the astrologists and how important they are in your life?
So, as I mentioned already, like so this thing, this is mostly prevalent in the Hindu Aryan or like Indo Aryan societies,
Mm-hmm.
like Khas, Madhesis, and Newars. So we, for example, I specifically belong from Tamang community, and usually we do not fall into like Hindu category, and like we usually do not, for example, uh, used to follow, like we do not used to like we do not go through the astrological like Hindu astro or Hindu Vedic or Hindu astrological things, but we do have our own here, like through the Buddhist astronomy, like Buddhist kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, for example, if you are supposed to like if you are about to make your new home, then the first thing you do is like you go with the priest, and you talk with the priest, and you like and you worship, like the priest comes to your house and he worship the land, and he puts something, and like he worships, and then you start building your house, like so being a majority of Hindu in our community. So I think the astronomical things like this, these kind of things have a very huge impact in the society.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are asking about like the astronomical things like China or like what do you call that? What do you say? To see your future,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
through astronomical chart, you can see your future, all right?
Mm-hmm.
So these kind of things like so these days these kind of things are youngster usually ignore these kind of things, like seeing a future through this China or like these astronomical things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still prevalent, but like but still like the young generations try to ignore these things.
I see. So when you were born, did your parents bring you to the astrologist, and did he tell you something you will become an activist or something like that?
No, so those things really don't happen in my community,
Uh-huh.
in my ethnic group. So it usually happens in the Hindus, Indo-Aryans or like Hindus, like if a son or a girl is born in Hindu, then they will go to the priest and they will make this chart called China,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and they will see from there, like if you are supposed to be a doctor, if you become what do you call it, engineer, whatever you said. So they predict a kind of future from that, China.
I see. Wow. We heard that when you you can become a teacher. Yeah, so you don't need a bachelor's degree. You can just become a teacher.
Well, I don't think that's kind of true, like fully true. But like for example, like if we completed our 10th, it was called SLC, and now it's called SEE or something like school. So after you complete high school, you are allowed to teach up to, I think,
Hmm.
secondary level, up to
Ah,
8th class. So after that, to teach 8 to 12 or 8 to 10, so you need I think you have to complete your bachelor's.
yeah, yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
And yeah, and if so these things happens in private school, like, but if you want to teach in government school, then you have to do some training and you have to gather a license,
Hmm.
get a license,
I see.
teacher's license.
Hmm. Yeah. And also, I'm curious about the Lakla airport. Do you call it Lakla?
Oh yeah, Lukla.
Lukla. Okay.
Yeah, we call it
Uh,
Lukla. It's one of the highest uh, airport, and with a very short runway.
mhm.
So yeah, it's kind of a it's also known as the deadliest airport in the world because of it has a very short runway, and it is located in the high altitude. Like I exactly don't know the meters, but it's located in the very high altitude,
Yeah.
and the surroundings or the environment around that area is like mostly cloudy or foggy, like due to its height. So it's usually hard for a pilot to see the land, so see the runway and land. So that's when the
Wow.
accidents usually occur. So
Yeah.
it's also a gateway to the Mount Everest, so
Hmm.
you have to take that route. If you are supposed to go through the plane, then Lukla, you have to go through the Lukla airport.
Wow. Yeah, I heard that it's quite dangerous because the runway it's not too long, right? And if you don't
Yeah, it's too
fly,
small,
take
and
off, and you are dead,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, so if even if there's even a minor miscalculation, then you might have a high chances of getting crashed. For example, like the Lukla Airport has been designed in a like steep way, like
Hmm.
what do you call that? It's inclined so that you when a plane lands,
Yeah.
so because of that inclined height, so
Hmm.
the speed of plane like reduces because of the short runway, like, so that's designed in that way.
Ah, I see. Wow.
So it's like it's a little bit upward, like runway
Hmm.
is a little bit upward, so that when plane lands, then if it's straight, then the plane will go in its own speed, right? So you can't
Hmm.
hit the brake hard. But if it's a quite height, like inclined to the height, then it's
Yeah,
the height usually graduates the speed. So yeah, it has been designed in that way.
I see. Okay. And um, also another question about uh, Nepal. Even though we don't know much about Nepal here, we think that people are happy there. Um, uh, and also, I wanted to ask about meditation. Is it because you practice meditation or because of something else?
Well, like meditation has, like in Buddhist culture or like in Hindu culture, so this meditation and yoga has been like passed down, like from the culture, like from the tradition. So usually, like if you want to do the meditation, then like you have to usually go for a meditation school over here. Like you can find like Buddhist monks school, and even there's like tuitions or training centers for yoga and this kind of things. As a So Nepal has all through ancient time. It is Nepal have also been known as the country where the place where the sages or saints come here to like meditate.
Hmm.
And so I think that's also a thing that has been influencing countries. And also, Gautam Buddha was born here, like Lord Buddha was also born here.
Yeah,
So I think that, so yeah, people, yeah, and a lot of people like do believe in like this culture. So it's a part of a ritual, like early morning you wake up, you stay in meditation and you pray, worship God. So yeah.
yeah. in the place where Buddha was born, do you call it Lumbini?
Yeah, it's Lumbini, Kapil Bastu.
Lumbini. I see. Yeah, and I heard that people still argue like he was born in India or Nepal because at that time it was part of India, right? That area.
Actually, that is not part of India, but
Mm-hmm.
like India did not existed during that time. It was like around nearly 25 years ago, 2500 years ago. So,
Mm-hmm.
so basically, country India was not there, but the whole belt from Afghanistan to Myanmar is called Indian plate. So it's called
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mahabharat. Like
Mm.
Mahabharat range.
Uh-huh.
So that was the part, like India, the country called India was found, like recently. So we are,
Yeah.
and after Afghanistan, we are like the second oldest country in, I think, Asia. So we usually, this whole belt, like from Afghanistan to Myanmar, including us, we are called like Mahabharat range, or like Mahabharat plate, Indian
Uh-huh.
plate. So yeah.
I see.
So people have, like, it's a thing that has been like going, like, for example, before when Lord Buddha was born, like his name was like Siddhartha Gautam, the original
Mm-hmm.
name.
Mm-hmm.
And like he was born in a royal family, and then he, like the story is that he left his family because he saw that people are suffering, and he wanted to know the reason of suffering. So he went to Gaya. So, and that's the place where he was enlightened, and like that was the place where he got the knowledge, and so this Gaya now lies in India. So it's kind of, like, Siddhartha Gautam was born in Nepal, but Buddha was born in India. So here's the argument that happens within
Yeah.
Nepal, with
Uh-huh.
Nepal and India, like.
Ah.
I
So
see.
you call him Lord Buddha, right?
Yeah, we call him Buddha, yeah, Lord Buddha.
Lord Buddha. Wow. Even so far from Nepal, here in Tajikistan, his statue was found like sleeping Buddha. It's big, about 16 meters. Yeah. Yeah, it's
More
huge.
than 15, yeah, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Buddha. It is believed that he had traveled to Central Asia, India, like Burma,
Mm-hmm.
Tajikistan.
like most of the Asia. It is said that he has traveled through Asia, a lot of Asia.
Yeah.
And it might be because, like, so during ancient time, maybe the Mongolians, or like Genghis Khan, like they have like conquered, or I don't know how the religion follows, but like, so usually it is said that, like, Buddhism was like quite spread around Asia,
Mm-hmm.
in around Central Asia, East Asia, like West, South.
Yeah.
So he's also known as the Light of Asia. So
Mm-hmm. Uh, when is the best time to visit Kathmandu in terms of the weather, maybe or holidays?
well, like, if you so it depends, like, if you are about so if you are planning to come to Nepal and to see the scenery, like scenes, like to go to the mountains, to do paragliding stuffs, and to do like skydiving.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I will suggest you come around, like, June, July is the rainy season over here, like June and July,
I
Hmm.
like
see.
June, July, and at the end of the August to September
Uh-huh.
or November. So
Okay.
that's the best time to visit Nepal, if in terms of sightseeing.
Uh-huh.
If you want to go, like, go like hiking, or like climbing the mountains. So in terms, if you want to, like, uh, spend your time with nature, then that's the perfect time. But if you want to, like, visit, or like to see the cultural sites, so there are lots of cultural heritage sites in Nepal, in Kathmandu,
Mm-hmm.
and in overall Nepal. So if you are just only if you are interested to see those cultural sites and people, then you are always welcomed.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
You can come anytime.
And
Cool.
how cold is winter there? Seems like very cold.
So in Kathmandu,
Not temperature.
it's not that cold. Like, Kathmandu has the perfect temperature. Like, it's not too summer,
Mm-hmm.
too hot in summer, and too cold in winter. But if you go to the southern part of Nepal, it's hot. Like, it's super hot.
Mm.
Like, it's extremely hot. And if you go to north, like in the mountains,
Yeah.
it's extremely cold. but these Himalayan ranges, in specifically Kathmandu, has a very moderate temperature.
Oh,
So like you can find like three kinds of weather. Like in even in a normal time, if you go to the southern parts of Nepal, it's hot, and if you come to the central, like, or Himalayan region, it's kind of a moderate. You can, like, because of hilly regions. And if you go like up to the north, to the mountains, then it's cold.
yeah. Yeah, and I even
It's cold.
heard
Yeah.
that there is no wind in Kathmandu with no wind.
Wind.
Yeah, because of its
Because it's surrounded by mountains
yeah,
and
it's at the bottom.
Oh, you mean like windy?
Yeah, not windy there.
Yeah, it's not that windy, but like we have like six seasons. So
What, six seasons?
yeah, six seasons. Like for example, west, summer, winter, and autumn, and like rainy in,
Yeah, spring,
spring.
summer,
yeah,
Yeah.
autumn, winter. Yeah.
autumn, winter, right? But here, like, we have like in Nepali, so there are like six seasons come in like two month. I exactly don't know how to say that in like
Uh-huh.
in English, but like uh, what do you call that? June, Jan, Feb. So usually Feb and like Feb, March, it's a summer season, if you
Yeah.
convert it to Nepali. And Feb, March, and April, or April, May, June, April, from April, no, like February to April, it's summer, right? And then June and July, it's winter. Yeah, no, sorry, rainy.
Wow.
So for 2 months,
Uh-huh.
it will be raining in Nepal, right? And then
Oh.
and after that, it's kind of an autumn season, like a transitional period, like where you go from summer, rainy, to the like winter. So these 2 months, then there's a kind of autumn, like, and then for next 2 months it's extremely cold, and then for next 2 months it's spring. So that's how the seasons have been divided in Nepal.
I see. So Samai, how people can find you if they have any questions? I'm sure they have. Yeah,
Yeah.
they.
Like, yeah, they can communicate with me, like in my Facebook, and even like I can give you my emails, and
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, you can like search me in Facebook also, like Samaya Lama. And so if anyone have questions, then I can give you my email. It's like
Sure.
Samay, Samay, Samay Lama,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Samay Lama, then double one, and @gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And you can search me in
Okay.
Facebook with Samaya Lama, and you can also look me in Instagram @ it's Samaya Lama.
Okay. Wow, you are quite active.
Yeah.
All right. Samai, do you have anything? Do you have anything else to add before we wrap up? Maybe something that we missed about Kathmandu.
Well, it's a must visit place. Like, you have to. I usually I ask people to visit Kathmandu and visit Nepal. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a lifetime experience. Like, to visit Kathmandu. So you have to. So I always say to my foreigner friends that you have to visit Kathmandu or visit Nepal once in a lifetime. It's a kind of lifetime experience. So you won't regret traveling to Kathmandu or traveling to Nepal. So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah,
Highly recommended.
highly recommended. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. We would love to visit
Yeah.
Kathmandu one day.
It's
Nepal.
our dream. Yeah. One day.
Yeah. Do let me know. I can guide around.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. So, Samai, thank you so much for taking the time. We learned something
Yeah, we learned a
a
lot of new
lot.
things,
Yeah.
and
It's now we want to go there even more.
yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and thank you to you guys also, like, giving this opportunity for me, to speak with you guys, and
Mm-hmm.
like sharing my knowledge, or like whatever, like sharing my thoughts, and like sharing my experiences. So, and also, like, in a way, kind of promoting Nepal. And thank you so much for that. Like, I'm honored.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can send us an email at theachilofs@gmail.com. And you can find us on all the major podcast platforms like Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, and so on. Until next time, goodbye.